Attack in Syria getting mixed reaction on Capitol Hill and sparking a debate over whether the president needs congressional approval for any future airstrikes. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham saying, quote, "We seem to have settled on and be comfortable with being the chemical weapons police." To those who believe the administration does not have a strategy when it comes to Syria, I respectfully disagree. The administration does have a strategy, and it's to withdraw from Syria as quickly as possible. And Republican Congressman Scott Taylor of Virginia also weighing in.
I think that he was, and I think that he was measured, calculated. I think he listened to his advisors, and I do think that he had the right balance in tone and in action.
And joining us now to discuss is Jay Chabria, a former senior advisor to Ohio Governor John Kasich and managing director at Mercury LLC. Jay, good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
You know, this is just, we're in the midst of this right now, but of course we have to talk politics, so here we go. What does this mean for President Trump politically? I mean, he campaigned on America first, you know, let the other countries fight their own battles. Now, in the wake of the attacks or subsequent attacks in Syria, should they be necessary, does this move the president's political needle towards the other side of the political spectrum, thus broadening his base?
That's a very interesting point. Does it broaden his base? Because it was a very limited strike, and it wasn't boots on the ground. It wasn't anything like that where it's a severe intervention. So I think there's going to be some issues with his core base, the folks that actually have want nothing for us to do in the world and have America to retract from the world. However, when he does something like what he did last night, he has the opportunity to look very presidential. He has the opportunity to talk to Republicans, Democrats that have historically said America needs to be the leader in the free world. Even people like Chuck Schumer supported the action last night. So this is a real opportunity for the president to broaden that base. And I think that's a very astute point, Arthel.
Let's listen now from Congressman Scott Taylor, a Republican congressman from Virginia. He was on Fox and Friends. Let's listen.
Okay.
A lot of political rhetoric there. I think that they were very clear with what the plan was. I am someone who has been very vocal about the AUMF, that this is the third president using a 17-year-old AUMF authorization of use of military force that absolutely should be updated. The president spoke about a sustained effort there. Look, if that's the case, then yeah, he should come to Congress, and Congress should have the courage and the guts to debate this with input from the executive branch, of course, in strategy and what's happening there. But I do think that he was right to do what he did last night.
Okay. And also, Jay, House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi is tweeting on this very issue, saying that at real Donald Trump must come to Congress to obtain a new AUMF, as you just heard, authorization for use of military force, present a clear set of objectives, and ultimately hold Putin accountable for the bloodshed he has enabled. So I ask you, Jay, did President Trump need congressional approval to carry out this attack and any future attacks?
No, he didn't, and the reason he didn't is because back in 2001, after 9/11, Congress gave broad authority to the executive branch, and they pretty much ceded their responsibility. And President Bush, President Obama, and now President Trump have used this authority for airstrikes around this region. Look, they're not wrong. The president ought to probably have these conversations with the Congress, but they had an opportunity to replace this AUMF last summer, and they chose not to. But that's what Congress tends to do. When they have big issues in front of them, they tend to dither and say, hey, let's kick the can on something like this. So look, Congress absolutely has the responsibility to declare war, but they've ceded that like they cede so many other tough decisions to the executive branch, making the executive branch much stronger historically. So here's my sense of this. I think this is an opportunity for Donald Trump to say, hey, look, I've had a lot of success with ISIS. He has not gotten this the credit that he deserves. There's a lot of detractors for President Trump on a whole bunch of issues, but ISIS is a place where he can clearly point to an example of saying, hey, this is a place we've had success. It's a shell of what it was before I took office. I kind of know what I'm doing here. My team knows what it's doing here. Let's work together. Let's put politics above partisanship. Let's have a conversation about what military authority should have, and let's come up with a clear, coherent strategy on Syria, and I think he's going to have success.
And you think that that's what he should have said to Congress, right?
Well, I think he can do that now.
Yeah,
I think he has an opportunity now.
I'm short on time here, but I want to ask you quickly, if by November, Jay, our troops are still engaged in a protracted mission, how might that affect each party at the polls? Quickly, if you will.
So I don't think it's going to have that much of an effect if it's limited interaction. But I think if we do escalate, that's going to have a negative impact amongst Republicans. But I think the Republicans are going to have a bad year anyway. So you got to do the right thing.
All right, Jay Chabria, we leave it there. We thank you for your time today. Thank you, Jay.
Thanks, Arthel.
Take care.
Well, they released a video. It showed Syrian President Bashar Assad walking to work with his briefcase, just like nothing happened.